Genesis 1, verses 14 through 19. And God said, "Let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons, and for days and years, and let them be lights in the expanse of the heavens to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. And God set them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the fourth day. Now this is about the creation of the sun, moon, and stars. Remember in the first day from verse 3, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Now this light probably emanated from God since no other source is indicated. It did provide a division between day and night, but was not clearly defined. This brought the light into more order, not only continuing to define the day and night, but now also defining seasons. Since we know that seasons are based on the tilt of the earth, then this ordering of light is more than just lights in the sky flickering on and off at the right time. This also implies a revolution of the earth about the sun, because we know that affects it also. Besides the creation of the other stars and planets, this also implies their movement. I might say implies. It doesn't specifically say that in the Bible, but the Bible's never meant to cover every aspect of our lives. For example, it does not tell us how to physically walk, but we know how to do it. And most of us could write down the steps. There's a difference about observing physical observations without inferring too much or assuming anything about God or his wishes. Although there's no way to tell the exact number total, we know there are 8 planets: Earth, Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, and Venus, and many dwarf planets. And I think Pluto, they reclassified into one of those. In the Milky Way galaxy alone, there are 100 to 400 billion planets. I'll let that sink in for a minute. 100 to 400 billion planets. In the observable universe, there's 2 trillion galaxies. So taking that into account, there are roughly 1 sextillion stars. Now that's a 1 with 21 zeros in the observable universe, assuming the scientists are correct. Now, if that doesn't make a person realize how great God is, then nothing will. If you can wrap your mind around all that being created in a day. Even the scoffers will say that, well, the day is a God day, whatever that might be. That would not diminish the greatness, the spectacular creation that occurred. I firmly believe it's actually in 24 hours, because that's what it says. Now, all this was created just by speaking, and according to the supposed Einsteins of this world, this all came from a microscopic particle that expanded, creating all of this. What blinders people have to ignore the greatness and glory of God. According to Psalms 8, verses 3 through 4, "When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you have set in place, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the son of man that you care for him?" It is truly amazing that God, who is so powerful and magnificent, would care so much for mankind. Thank you, Lord, for loving and caring for us. Now, these are just not meaningless background images. I have taught 3D game development classes, 2D game development classes, and specifically in 3D game development classes, sometimes a JPEG image file is placed at a distance in the 3D world you're creating. So from afar off, it looks like a mountain. Now, obviously, if you got close enough to it, you'd see it was just an image. If you ever drove out to Colorado, or a state that has mountains, in the distance, that could just as easily be an image that's put there. Now, God didn't do this. God cares for his own creation and even named each star. According to Psalm 147, verse 4, He determines the number of the stars. He gives to all of them their names. Now remember, the estimate was 1/6 stars. I recently had a robotics competition, and I had to name 20 of the Wonder Dash robots, the little blue robots for middle schoolers. And now, keep in mind, just 20 of them. It took me about an hour and a half to name them. It was a little bit challenging coming up with the names, and then also had to do the part where I renamed them in the actual robot. Imagine coming up with 1/6 names and remembering them. God is truly great. I once compared the relationship of mankind to God as ants to a human in terms of power and understanding. I gave mankind much more credit and weight than I should have. Um, the distinction between the two is beyond what I could imagine. Now, when they're talking about the greater light, talking about the sun, talking about the lesser light, talking about the moon, and this verse sums up how I feel about the creation that I observe around me. Psalm 19, verse 1, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky above proclaims his handiwork. And I think I've said this before in some videos, but if you've never gone out and looked in the night sky and looked at the stars and thought about how many stars are out there, and each planet perhaps being unique. You know, God put a lot of trees on this planet, and they're all different. Probably every planet is different in some form. Think of the God that has the power to create that. How mighty God is.